This video is to give you a quick heads up on how to digitize. In this case, I am zoomed into my Tacoma neighborhoods, which is at the bottom of the screen. Just for reference sake, these are some of the points that have been added, probably some bars, and probably also some primary data that was collected by students in the course. First thing to do is customize toolbars and find the editor toolbar. There it is. I usually dock mine at the top. Notice it's all grayed out because I haven't started editing yet. I will in a minute. To activate the editor, click Editor, Start Editing, and a box pops up like this. What this window shows you is what data is connected to what layers up here. And in this case, I'm going to be working with Tacoma footprints. I click on Tacoma footprints, and down here it shows that this little pencil means that I'm editing that one. If I was working on this database or this folder, only TAC GPS points is coming from that folder. But I want to work on Tacoma footprints, which means that this one is highlighted. I'm going to make sure that stays highlighted. You may only have one. I happen to have two. If you get a spatial reference is incorrect, and you may have to go back and fix it. If you assign the identical spatial reference as your ortho photos, you should be okay. I'm going to click OK, and I do get spatial reference does not match the data frame. We're just going to cruise by that because we know that it's okay. For now, I'm just going to click Continue, and we end up with this box. To do this, I have to click on Tacoma footprints because that's where I'm creating my footprints. And notice on the bottom, you should get a list of options. I'm going to move this up so we can see the options better. There we go. There. Tacoma footprints, and then we're going to choose polygon in the construction tools menu down here. The next thing we need to do is open up the attributes dialog and the sketch properties dialog. To do so, let's move this a little bit off to the left. And these are at the very end of the editor toolbar. If I hover, create features is already open. That's this one right here. This one is sketch properties. I open that, and then attributes. I open that. Notice they're all here. They're just hidden behind one another. These are tabs. The attribute table lets you update the attributes of the item that you're digitizing. The edit sketch properties dialog will enable us to finish or close the polygon sketch when we draw them. And of course, the create features dialog is we can choose the proper layer and the type of polygon that we're going to create. What we'll be doing is using the Create Feature dialog and choosing a polygon type in order to digitize building footprints in Tacoma. This is where you need to organize your workspace very well so that you can get to this information as well as see your map. For reference, you'll be digitizing points that correspond with TAC GPS points or TAC bars. The bars we know are all bars, but the TAC GPS points, they have specific items in them that the attributes will give you information about digitizing them. Let's begin by clicking the zoom in button and start zooming into downtown Tacoma. And we're going to get very close. For this example, I'm going to choose this building right here to digitize. The more zoomed in you are, the better. It'll let you digitize with much more accuracy the goal of this is to be accurate. We're trying to make the footprint, that is, the space that this building occupies on the ground. Because this is my initial point that I'm going to look at, I'm going to use the I button for info and click on it. It comes up and says it's a waypoint, and it tells me that it is a trash can. I need to remember that. It is a trash can, and it looks like that's it. I have the group name in there, but just a trash can. Perfect. I close it. I know that I'm going to label this a trash can. Make sure that you have polygon clicked. Notice when it's not clicked, if I were to go to edit sketch properties, come back to features, if I were to change that, it switches to line feature, autocomplete polygon. So make sure to use polygon, and then you can choose multiple tools to do this. I'm just going to show you how to do one. For this, let's use this tool, the straight segment and the polygon, and make sure we're on Tacoma Footprints, polygon. I'm going to start at this corner, click, come up. I'm just doing this building. I'm not going to do the whole building. Come up here. Looks like the building stops about there. Come over to this edge, click, and then I'm going to come down here, and that's pretty good. Notice I'm going by the building line, not the overhang. Double click and the building becomes pink. I have edited that item. I can go into the attributes, go down to trash, and then I type in trash. Go back to create features and use the pan tool. I'm going to move to another one. Hopefully quickly. Here's one. That little dot right there. Use the identification tool. It is a art. It's art. In which case, I'm just going to digitize maybe this triangle. Make this called art. Tacoma Footprints. Create features. I'm on polygon. I'm on this tool, and this time I'm going to create a triangle. Call it my art. I clicked, but I didn't double click, which means that I could still possibly click right here, but with this little item here, I can click Finish Sketch. That is another way to finish your sketch. Notice there used to be a road that ran through here. I go to the attributes, scroll down to art, and type art in caps. And this is how you continue throughout your editing. I've done 2. I would have to do 8 more. Being sure to edit the properties or the attributes after you do each one. Periodically, go up to Editor and Save Edits. We can still get back in here. Tacoma Footprints, Polygon. You can still go into Attributes once I open up one. Let's just look at Tacoma Footprints attribute table. Notice I put in trash and art. These are my 2 polygons. When I'm finished, I close this box and say Editor, stop editing. If I had not saved yet, it would say ask me to save my edits. Also remember, after your first footprint, the directions stay to zoom into it. But when you're done with all of them, zoom to layer, and now my 2 footprints show up. You can alter the color if you'd like. That's how you digitize. You just created data from you created a polygon data from your point data. Be sure to export a picture of this map as a PNG and put it into your write-up when you're done with all 10. Again, there are only 2 here. Be sure to do all 10. If for some reason you forgot to do just the first one, zoom in to just one and take a picture of it and export that JPEG, or excuse me, PNG as the first footprint that you created. You can see the directions in the lab. Finish up the last steps of the lab, perhaps work on the bonus. Congratulations, you've collected GPS data, you've digitized, and you've also ortho reference data. You geocoded.